Good morning, everyone, to all the professors and all the viewers of this video presentation of our system. First of all, our project is about OnAid social media website application. It's more like an online aid for students in using software and online tools. So for the introduction, our title is here, OnAid website online aid for students or any person in using software and online tools. OnAid is a comprehensive PHP-based information poll system, or we should simply call it a social media website, that includes a complete login registration system, user profile system, chat room, forum, and blog, polls, and events management system. And wait. So for the next slide.
Background of the study. UNESCO reports that 190 nations have halted schools nationwide after the COVID-19 outbreak, affecting an estimated 127,959,411 learners on their education as of September 20, 2021. Millions of more people could be impacted when additional countries implement school closures. Most governments have chosen to close schools for the valid public health objective of controlling the viral spread. Due to the pandemic, most governments chosen to close schools. That is why education has been restructured to accommodate online learning via cloud-based platforms accessible via internet. So the developers decided to develop a system that will help students. Developers developed a social media platform that lets the users to create forums, blogs, polls, and events that will enable students to share their expertise about programming, presentation, and other learning software.
Objectives. The overall goal of this project is to assist the student in coping with online learning and develop a web platform that will enable students and anybody else in need assistance in working with the tools and software for online classes, projects, and activities. With the help of our research, the student will easy to access several platforms and online learning services that will make their online class experience easier and productive.
Scope and limitation. Initial deployment and testing. Initial deployment and testing are one of the limitations because our conducted system is only for third-year CICS IT students who studied at Batangas State University. Other limitations are the web server service because it only has limited users who can access our website. Time and cost. It has limitation on the system or design, the time and cost. One of the limitations in substantial impact is the time because it's a critical indicator of project success. The developers put the time in limitations because they don't have enough time to complete all the features of their system. Another limitation is cost because it's critical in financial viability. The developers put the cost in the limitation because they don't have enough fund in utilizing the website or the web server service to access all students on the website, and it can be the one of the barriers to running the system. Hardware, software, and web servers. Hardware, software, and web servers are the elements or issues that will limit the developer's possibilities. Hardware is the key to operate and maintain the system. Because of an epidemic, the system is developed on a single set of computers, and it has impact on the system. because some computers of the developers is not appropriate the tools needed. So, they need to find the tools that can run the program of other developers. WAMP server, VS Code, and PageKit are tools used to run our system, and it's required for the maintenance, editing, and testing. The PageKit, Lucidchart, and web servers such as 000 web host are the software used by the developer in the system. The following software has services, and those services can't afford by developers. That's why it has an impact on doing documentation and the system's output.
And for the chapter 2 of our documentation, system analysis. 2.1 is about development model. The developers decided that the methodology they will use is one of the Agile project development models, specifically the extreme programming model of Agile method, or XP. The XP model was chosen for this project because it enables the development team to generate a preliminary software version that will be improved according to the professor's recommendations. This was a methodological approach in which requirements and solutions evolved collaboratively between self-organizing, cross-functional teams and their clients. On our case, it's the users, the students at Batangas State University. Following the defense, further requirements or ideas from professors are recognized, and in subsequent iterations of the software are redesigned and constructed. Each iteration cycle through all phases of the SDLC, and these cycles are continued until the system is completed and implemented on the web. So as you can see, phase 1 is the information gathering phase, then planning, system and designing, proofreading of the documentation. So phase 3, it's about designing of the system, the code, the pages, the algorithm, the functions, and the construction of the documentation, the whole docu that will display all information about the system. I think it has the longest schedule for us to have on the development cycle, or on the schedule and timeline. So phase 4, proofreading of the documentation. Phase 5, testing and review of the system. Phase 6, finalization. Phase 7, defense, revision of phase 8, and phase 9, implementation. The good thing about extreme programming method is about it can return to any part or any phase on the development cycle. Example po. So phase 9 or phase 8, after revision, implementation, it can return to any part of the cycles. Pwede po siya sa planning, ulit, kung applicable po siya. Proofreading po, pwede rin po siya doon. Para po ma-ensure lahat ng documentation parts ay good or walang grammatical errors. At yan po, pababa pa. As you can see po sa mga arrows na yan. Kaya po ito din ang napili namin for our system. And for the 2.2, which is the development approach of the OnAid website. The OnAid developers use a top-down design strategy for the system, since it is a method of developing a website based on designer knowledge without considering the demands of the users. This is because the developers designed for themselves as Batangas State University students too. They put themselves in the shoes of the other users and considered how they could assist them with their internet ventures or queries. So here's our top-down diagram. This is the website on a social media management system. We have login and sign up. If they want to sign up, it's okay. They have login. After logging in, they will redirect at the dashboard, which will display the latest forum, latest blogs, polls, and events. On that page, they can view a forum, they can view a blog, they can view a poll, and create events. And then on that view pages, they can delete a forum and update or edit a forum. And same with the other pages in the system. After logging in also, they can go to the OnAid Forum, OnAid Hub, which displays all the blogs, polls, and events. They can also go to the chat room, that which they can message other users. They can go to settings also. This part here, there are all the navigation bar at the top part of the page of the dashboard. In the settings, they can view their own profile, edit own profile, and contact the OnAid management or developers. And then the logout button is also present there. And for the 2.3 fishbone diagram of OnAid website system, here's our diagram for it. Oh, sorry. And the developers believe that the website system they had designed will provide a solution to this type of difficulty, which is technical and software difficulties from online class. Additionally, it revealed the 4 roots were contributing to the students' problem at Batangas State University. The first reason discussed is the equipment here, which consisted of insufficient equipment for the pupils or students to use, and also its complexity. Every equipment are complex and difficult to handle or to know the proper use of it. Another cause depicted in the diagram's upper section is people here. This includes the fact that the students are unable to interact physically with one another due to the pandemic. And in the case of online classes, students who understand how software systems work are unable to impart their expertise to their colleagues in an orderly and timely manner. And then at the bottom of the fishbone diagram, management and environment are listed as contributing to the problem's causes, just like the people and equipment. The intricacy of online learning and programming environments is a contributing factor for the environment cause. Without the assistance of specialists or people who previously unaware of how to utilize the platforms, they are extremely tough to understand and operate. Additionally, the majority of social media networks available today are created exclusively for business and life story sharing and require payment to join, like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and other social media applications. These factors have a significant impact on a user's degree of engagement with a social media application, like the disturbing advertisements on certain platforms, Facebook video ads, YouTube video ads. Finally, for the management cause of the problem here. This involves the reality that instructors cannot meet all of the students' needs in order to learn how to use programming and online learning tools. And professors cannot explain everything in their lectures. So that was the root problem of the technical and software difficulties from online class experienced by students at Batangas State University. And for 2.4 of system analysis, system boundaries. This the system boundary diagram depicts the system boundary that divided the system activities occurring within the environment, or this is the website. The diagram summarizes the major components that were interconnected. First is the internet connection, which is the requirement to access the website on the web. And then the users themselves, the 284 IT third year students and 60 faculties at Batangas State University CICS. For the explanation of this diagram, the OnAid solution, which was devoted to Batangas State University, received inputs here. Receive inputs in the form of lessons and instructions that will benefit students' online class ventures, or from the users themselves. They want to create blogs, polls, forum. They can that depicts an instructions or guidelines on how to use softwares online, or programming methods, programming what's called of that, programming codes or logic that they may use on their system. They can only also share on our system OnAid website. Each piece of content on the website is contributed by its users, and these pieces of content include forums, blogs, poll, and events. Additionally, communication can occur via live chat, where users can submit requests or questions to be answered by other student professionals and teachers. Here, people that encounter issues with online learning can get their queries answered by the website's content. The most frequently asked concerns by users concern rules for using programming software, and even advice on how, when, and where to utilize a particular product or platform. And in this diagram, all system components of function were isolated from their surroundings, which represented the website solution stakeholders. Here, see how every variable is separated, and how the system works, or the workflow of the system. The developers also addressed the role of faculty members, as they were having online challenges as well, and some of them are already familiar with the new learning norm, which allows them to share their knowledge with one another via the OnAid system. Additionally, the accessibility and system performance of the OnAid solution are dependent on the users and website servers' internet connectivity. And for the 2.5 use case diagram. So here's the OnAid social media system use case diagram. In here, this is the whole system. Then a user, normal user. All of these users can create, view, display, delete, and update the following forums, blogs, polls, and events. They can also edit their profile. They can also message other users and search all content, or search a piece of content that they want to know. Or example, they want to know how to use VS Code, they can search it to the system. So the normal user, this normal user can do all of this, and at the same time, the user admin. However, the user admin is the only one who had access to delete every content that he or she wants to delete. And the normal user can delete the content, the only content that he or she created. And then for the the user admin, they are created by database administrator, which this database administrator is from the developer team, which they can make a normal user an admin of the system. And for the 3.2 data flow diagrams, which consists of context diagram and level 0 diagram. For the context diagram, user, here's are the entities. The user, external entity, sends a query to the system, which is the level 0 process, or the system itself. The user sends a query. A query may create, view, delete, or update any content on the system, like blogging, forum, poll, event, search, user profile, and messaging system. Then the systems, depending on the query of user, will process it, and will this entity or this process rather will send the formatted results for the query to the user, like the blog page, view page of every content, or the user profile page. And for the level 0 diagram, here, let's zoom in. For further explanation, is the user. The user will send a query on the system. Then every system had every these processes contains these processes, which are the read or display, the create, the update, the delete, the search, and the message other users. These processes will fetch the data on the database, like forums DB, blogs DB, polls DB, events, and users DB, depending on the query of the user. Then the database will send the data on the processes. These processes will evaluate the data, and then the system will return here. This process will return the formatted contents on the user. Here, the 2.0. And for the 3.3 database design, this part contains the database design. This diagram of the design, the database design of the established system, entails the manner in which the data is stored, as well as the relationships between each attribute, table, and dimension as depicted in this figure. The researchers utilize MySQL to manage the web database completely, and also made this choice based on past studies of alternative database tools. The researchers created the database design using PHP which is a unified visual tool for database. There are a total of 15 database tables depicted in the graphic, whereas 12 of them, here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 12 of them were linked to other tables, and 3 were not correlated at all, like the post, the password reset, and the categories. The database tables depicted in figure or diagram employed a foreign key to connect and link the data contained inside each table. See, you can see the lines on the table, at every table. So, and moreover, the links in the figure originated primarily from the users table, which contains OnAid users information, because they are the ones who will create the content of the system.
So in graphical users interface, this part includes screenshot of all website design for OnAid social media system, like login page, sign up page, dashboard, search page, messaging page, view all user page, user profile, edit profile, contact us page, view forum page, view blog page, view poll page, and view event page. And here in system integration, the system website goals to provide an educational platform where users may establish blogs, events, forum, and polls. With its function, the website will assist students, professors, administrators, and IT specialists with the help of the other users. Furthermore, the website has exclusive conversation which allows the users to engage and other users and administrators. In integration support, we use the WAMP and SAMP server, the VS Code, the local hosting Narok, the local hosting PageKite, PHP and MyQSL, Git, and GitHub, the 00 web host platform, the host stinger private domain.
Resources and their allocation. This section contains a list of description of all necessary support, materials, equipment, and facilities for integration. Additionally, this section will define the test environment and any resources required for testing and development. WAMP and SAMP server, the VS Code, local hosting ngrok, and local hosting page guide, PHP and MySQL, Git and GitHub, web host platform, hosted your private domain. For SAMP and WAMP and SAMP server are frequently used for web development and internal testing, but also capable of serving live website. In this project, it will be Apache of PHP and MySQL server inside WAMP and SAMP that will be used to run and test the website while the logical system and algorithm are being coded. For VS Code, Visual Studio Code is a simplified code editor that includes debugging, task execution, and version control capabilities. It is used to incorporate Git command and GitHub function into the OnAid system development process. For local hosting, ngrok and PageKite, hosting on a local level, ngrok and PageKite. ngrok enables developers to access internet via web server running on local computer. Furthermore, PageKite is a reverse proxy that connects local servers to the public internet. As a result, head of system development use PageKite to host an OnAid website on his computer and grant access to his group members for system testing. This was necessary in order to locate the faults within the OnAid website system. For PHP and MySQL, the PHP and MySQL combo enables to creation of nearly any type of website, from example contact from to a big corporate gateway. These programming languages serve as website backbone or scripting language for Git and GitHub. Git is a version control system that enables management and monitoring of source code history. GitHub is a cloud-based service that enables management of Git repository repositories. This purpose is used during the development of the OnAid system to restore an error-prone file code to its previous error of pre-state. Most significant, it serves as documented list of OnAid code for web host platform. It's a pre-web hosting and is typically constrained in the term of capabilities and features that customer must pay receive what they require. Its services include a website builder, WordPress support, and web server, and no advertisement. The web server will host the OnAid website, which will be accessible to other students. Hostager and private domain. Hostager is a private domain vendor which the private domain of OnAid was created. With the use of this domain, user can easily access the website by typing short web address of onaidgabi.host to their URL.
On this table, it will be the training needed of the developers to maintain the system. The training comes from to the project manager, which is the team leader, Gabriel Adrian Alvaro. Then the cost was free. Database admin training, responsible for understanding and managing the overall database environment. It also responsible for designing, implementing, and maintaining the database system, and ensuring that database and data are backed up appropriately and can be recovered correctly and quickly in the event of failure. The user interface and the algorithm is just like the database admin training, but on the user interface, it is based on the UI, wherein the process designers use to build interfaces in software or computerized devices, focusing on looks or style, and the algorithm is focuses on the logic, wherein they describe a logical sequence of steps to perform some tasks like solving a problem.
Testing. For the testing of our system, these are the unit names: user sign up, user login, viewing of forums, viewing of blogs, viewing of polls, viewing of events, viewing of user profiles, creating a forum, creating a blog, creating a poll, creating an event, updating or editing of a forum, updating or editing of a blog, updating or editing of a poll, updating or editing of an event, updating or editing of personal user profile, deleting a forum, deleting a blog, deleting a poll, deleting an event, deleting a normal user, messaging other users, searching contents, and log out. When we test our program, all the following unit names are passed and all of the features and functions of our system inside is working.
Um, Change procedures and history. Search button on the navigation bar. So as you can see, this is the old version and this is the new version. You will see at the navigation bar of the website where a search icon is added that will redirect to the searching content page if click. Blog page, comment, and share buttons. This is the old version. and this is the new version wherein you can see at the blog view page of the website where a comment plugin from discuss.com was added where it will let the users comment their suggestions or ideas in every blog. The developer also added the social media share kit buttons to let the user share blogs to the other social media that existed on the web. So contact us form is 00 webs host website. So this is the old version, and as you can see, this is the new version. At the contact page of an OnAid in the administered version of an IP 00 web host, the reason why it was applied is because 00 web host free account does not support an SMTP mailing system, which the contact page of OnAid Hub as an alternative contact form. The developer added a new form that was powered by form submit on website plugin. So donate button at the footer. So this is the old version and this is the new version wherein you can see at the footer of the website where a donate button from PayPal was added. Buttons to choose what table to search in the search content page. So this is the old version and this is the new version wherein you can see at the search page of an OnAid where users can select a kind of content row in the database that they want to search with. Added a link row for results of search queries in the search content page. So as you can see, this is the old version and this is the new version wherein in the new version at the search page of OnAid where a link was added on the search results table, it will let the user view the search results, the forums, blogs, posts, and events with their respective pages in formatted view. Risk management process. The RID001 internet connection, RID002 human error, RID003 messaging page error, and RID004 data corruption in the database. So, messaging page error rank 1 because there are many messages content on a conversation. The system may lag or slow to load because it will process all conversations instead of processing only the messages that fits to the messaging screen. And the internet connection rank 2 because developers use the internet every time they make a system, especially if it's a web-based application. They can't make a website if there are no internet connections because some of the information needed to build the website requires internet. And then human error rank 3 because human errors are far more hazardous than you would believe. They include a variety of errors that we do without knowing the effects, such as removing system files, adding incorrect or corrupted data, and so on. And the last one, the rank 4, is the correct data corruption in the database because a hard disk drive is where a computer keeps all of its data, all of your data, including SQL databases, stored on the hard disk becomes unavailable if the hard disk fails or crashes for any reason.
In initial impact, we estimated the cost of the system. In initial fees, initial costs associated with making the online system. Recurring fees, this helps to maintain the system. Assumption fees, this is the anticipated fees for the system. And in the pricing methodology, we use the bottom-up estimation. And the budget impact for us is that our system is fully secured.
Timeline impact. Brainstorming is a necessary thing in preparing the proposal. August 22 to August 28, 2021. August 22 is the day since our professors give us time to think about a unique topic for the proposal. After a week of brainstorming, our professors approved it. After that, the developers took weeks and months to learn the programming languages from video tutorials that need for the system. September 4 to December 4, 2021. September 4, 2021 started to apply the code up to December 4, 2021. But developers took many times to correct and put appropriate codes to become successful the result. Many problems that developers encounter, especially in the features of the system. Another problem of developers that delays the development of the system is an internet connection and power interruption. And another problem is the complexity of a social media application in the plan and layout of the system. September 4 to December 10, 2021. During the developers doing their system, they also started gather information for documentation or documenting and planning the design. December 10, 2021, the developers finished the documentation in working websites or working web system initial requirements with its user interface for the defense. Our system and documentation will serve as a guide and reference to other and future developers, programmers, and researchers.
Risk monitoring. Review of risks and issues. Check for issues that may have escalated. The risks and issues are related to the development of the system. To know if there is a problem that may occur, the developers review or test the system twice a week depending on the changes or updates that have been made on the system. And if there was a risk or issues, they would need to come up with a solution to resolve and to reduce the risk that had happened. Monitoring. Developers monitor the system whenever there is a new function that has been created for them to be able to know and identify the errors that they see in the system. Reporting. It is important for developers to document all the processes that have been done throughout the system weekly. Through this, it could help to know if there is a development on the system and if it's functioned well, and also to find out some errors that may give a problem to the system.
Risk categories. The risk categories are the following: technical, internet connection, system, information security, and maintenance. Technical is an identical risk that has an impact on the project. The impact is mild and the likelihood is low-medium. It is a risk when an implementation does not work as anticipated. The risk can manage properly. Our system has its own GitHub repository. If ever the function did not work, the developers need to turn the functions into the past and working state. It also has two impacts and three likelihood, and the risk score is 5, and the risk is called technical and architectural risk. Internet connection is an identical risk that has an impact on the project. The impact is mild and the likelihood is low-medium. The identical risk is losing the internet and it can lead to save the contents after creating. It can be managed by checking the internet connection always to avoid the risk. So the users must have a copy of the files. It also has two impacts and two likelihood, and the risk score is 4, and the risk is called operational risk. System is an identical risk that has an impact on the project. The impact is catastrophic and the likelihood is high. The identical risk is being slow in the system or being slow of the system, and to manage the risk, users need to refresh the system. It also has 5 impacts and 4 likelihoods, and the risk score is 9, and the risk is called operational risk. Information security. Information security is an identical risk that has an impact on the project. The impact is insignificant and the likelihood is low. The identical risk is data integrity from tampering either accidentally or maliciously. To manage the risk is to have an identifier to all records and determine who can edit the content. It also has 1 impact and 3 likelihood, and the risk score is 4, and the risk is called information security risk. Maintenance is an identical risk that has an impact on the project. The impact is insignificant and the likelihood is low. The identical risk is the error or malfunctioning of the project or the system. To manage the risk, always check the files and copy of files for backupping. It also has 1 impact and 2 likelihood, and the risk score is 3. And the risk is called technical and architectural risk.
Risk assessment matrix. Risk rating key can be classified as low, medium, high, and extreme. Under low risk is 0, acceptable or acceptable. Under of medium, grade is 1 or alarm as low as reasonably practicable or take mitigation efforts. Under of high, the grade is 2 or generally unacceptable and seek support. And under of extreme, the grade is 3 or intolerable. And place event hold. Severity. Severity can be classified in acceptable, tolerance, desirable, and intolerable. Acceptable is little to no effect on event. Tolerable is effect are felt but not critical to outcome. And desirable, serious impact of course of action in outcome. Intolerable could result in disaster. Under of improbable, risk is unlikely to occur, and possible, risk will likely occur, and under probable, risk will occur. First is improbable. The grade for acceptance is low and 1, and for under of tolerable, the grade is medium and 4, and under undesirable, medium, and 6. And in intolerant, the grade is high and 10. Next, the possible. The grade is for acceptance. The grade is low and 2. And for tolerable, the grade is medium and 5. And desirable, the grade is high and 8. And intolerable, the grade is extreme and 11. Next is for probable. The grade for acceptance is medium and 3. And for tolerable, the grade is high and 7. And for undesirable, the grade is high and 9. And intolerable, the grade is extreme and 12. And for mitigation and grading matrix, this is risk matrix. Selection impacted likelihood can be classified as low, medium, high, and extreme. First is low. The grade is low. The grade is low and N. And for medium, the grade is D. And for high, the grade is C. And for extreme, the grade is A. Next, for medium, under of medium. The grade of medium, the grade is D and low. And for medium, the grade is C. And for high, the grade is B. And for extreme, the grade is A. And under the high, the grade is low and C. And for medium, the grade is B. And for high, the grade is A. And for extreme, the grade is A. And also A. Risk mitigation based upon grade. Grade can be classified in A, B, C, D, and N. And its possible action. Under the grade A, the possible action is seriousness are to be identified and implemented at the start of the project. And under the grade B, the possible action is implemented throughout the course of the project. And under the grade C, the possible action is identified and cost possible action should found permit execution. And for the grade D, and possible action is risk to be noted and no action is required unless the grading increases over time. And for grade N, the possible action is risk no action is required unless the grading increases over time.
Stakeholder tolerances. This part will define the time and limitation of cost contingency reserves. Missing or lost files. Missing or lost files is one of the dangers or risks in the system. It has a high probability of risk in the system. To be prepared for the risk, the developers need to have a flash drive and have a backup files and cloud drives. The response for the risk, always copy all the files and put them on a flash drive and cloud drives before shutting down the PC or computers. Program malfunction or error. Program malfunction or error is also a danger or risk in the system. It is a common risk that developers encounter. It has a medium probability risk in the system. To be prepared for the risk, the developers need to have updates regularly to maintain the web system. Database corruption. Database corruption is also a danger or risk in the system. It encountered by the developers when the web system is hacked. It has medium probability of risk in the system. To be prepared for the risk, the developers must be maintaining the PHP MyAdmin up-to-date packs. To be prepared, also is saving the database into cloud drives and GitHub repository. The response for the REST needs routine backups and the database must use to update the backup files. Budget shortage. The last danger on the risk in the system is budget shortage. It has a high probability risk in the system. To be prepared for the risk, the developers must budget the planning framework and make promotion to find people for donations. The response for the risk is must do a button for donation that is connected to their website. And that is the common risk of the developers encounter in doing the system. The following risk can affect the business. Missing or losing files can affect the business. It can lose the customer and the time of productivity will damage. Programming malfunction or error can also affect the business because it can do the system properly. Database corruption has an impact that affects the business. When a business database is corrupted, the partners and investors' trust that they put will lose. Budget shortage can also affect the business. If the business hasn't enough budget, the project can't be successful.
And for now, I will demonstrate po ang how to use the OnAid website application. First, meron po siyang folder. Access ko lang po yung folder. Ito po yung i-attach ko na system work product. Yan, lahat po siya. Ito pong repository na to. Plus po, ito na lang pala, source code. Ito po yung repository din. With the database na SQL extension. First option po for accessing the website through WAM server. I can just click it here. So it will pop up the login page, or I can use the domain kasi po uploaded na po yung website or implemented na po yung website sa web server ng 000 web host po siya. Bale, you need to type the subdomain and domain at the URL, which is onaid.gabi.host. And here po, pwede nyo na pong i-access yung website without adding the repository at WAM server or SAMP or any server, local server. In here po, you can log in or you can, if you want to sign up, then nasa sa inyo po. Pero I will provide po ng isa pong trial account for evaluation purposes na i-include ko po sa dito na lang po pala. Nasabihin ko na lang po dito. Bale, ang account ko na lang po ang gagamitin ko. Which is ito lang po yung pinaka-admin. Ang ginawa ko po kasi account ko lang po yung admin kasi para po madali pong mag-manage ng ibang users. Nung una po, lahat po kami admins kasi need po namin mag-create ng lahat ng contents. And after that, meron na pong lahat ng member ng grupo namin ng contents like blogs, forums, polls, events, ginawa ko na lang po silang normal user. Then, my password po is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Gabi ang username po, then ang password ay 1 to 8. Then, I just need to log in. Magre-redirect na lang po siya sa dashboard. Kung makikita nyo po pala, hindi po siya secure dahil naka-free account lang po ako sa 00 web host. May bayad po kasi pag pag premium and mawala po yung itong banner ng web host. Tsaka po magiging secure siya kung premium, kaso mahal po eh. Tsaka na lang po pag capstone. Mas prefer ko po ang Heroku, pero kailangan po kasi ng credit card. Wala pa po ako ngayon. So, dito po sa web host, 00 web host, pwede pong free kahit walang credit card. Then, for the usage of the system on how to use it po, first, I'll demonstrate po pala yung sign up page bago po tayo mag-proceed. Kung gusto nyo po mag-sign up, pwede rin po. Sign up. Trainer pa username, email, password. Nirepeat nyo password lang po, first name, last name. And choose your gender. Set avatar, choose any picture po na gusto nyo pong profile nyo. Avatar, headline, and bio. Then, may account na po ako. So, kailangan ko na lang po mag-login ulit. 1 to 8. Please take note po yung yung domain and subdomain po natin para po mas madali po nyo pong ma-access. Hassle po kasi pag i-add pa sa WAMP server or SAMP. First ba, ito po yung dashboard ng OnAid. Ipapakita po niya yung mga latest or bagong gawa na content ng mga user. Ito po yung mga forums, blogs, polls, and events. Nakaset lang po siya sa 6, pero pwede ko naman pong dagdagan yung mga i-display niyang latest na content. Pero para po hindi masyadong madami po yung i-display niya, 6 inanon ko na lang po muna. And dito po pwede po nilang i-click dahil naka-link naman po siya dun sa code niya na ilalabas po niya para pong naka-fetch yung isang row na magre-redirect po sa view page ng bawat content. Like, click po ako ng forum. Ayun. Ito po yung forum na sinasabi ko po. Na pwede pong i-input ng user ang questions nila or tutorial or guidelines, instructions. Then, pagka-input po nila, makikita po siya ng lahat ng user. Kung papansin po nyo, meron po siyang buttons na parang sa Stack Overflow na may up and arrow, up and down arrow. Para po siyang like button din na kung ano po yung pinaka tama or mas prefer gawin ng mga user na iba, ay pwede po nalang gawin. Pwede po nalang i-up arrow para mas malaman po yung mas tama or mas prefer na gawin. Dito po sa forum page na to, visible na rin po yung delete and update function. Hindi na naman po niya kailangan ng page para mag-delete. So, button lang po siya. Pagka select po niya, madi-delete po niya yung specific content na ito. Parang kukunin po niya yung row na yun. Then, may nakahanda pong SQL command for deletion ng row na to sa database. Then, mawala na po siya. Then, sa update naman po or edit, ma-edit po natin to using this button. Click lang po natin. Bale po, ito po yung page niya for editing. Pwede po niyang edit to. Gusto niyo pong baguhin, then click update data. Bale, bawat page po ng view page ng bawat content, visible na po yung edit and delete function. Ano na po siya lahat. Same with lahat ng function ng content po, ganun lang din. Ang vlogs. Ito po ay isang sample ng vlogs. Meron po siyang picture na head, title, and content. Yan. Kung mapapansin niyo po ito po yung plugin lang from discuss.com para po siyang comment function na nilagay ko lang po sa script ng page po ng view. Then ang user po ay pwede mag-comment or using their Google account na magre-register po sa account ko sa discuss.com. Then pwede po na lang i-comment ang gusto nila or anong may mali or gustong baguhin dito na pwedeng mabasa ng author. Then ito po yung isa pang plugin na kinuha ko from the website po. Nalimutan ko lang yung specific website na pwede po nilang i-share yung page sa ibang social media like kung Twitter, lalabas na po siya dito. Need ko lang pala po try po natin LinkedIn. Kailangan po lahat sige, naka-incognito lang po kasi ang browser ko kaya kailangan mag-login, pero pag po hindi incognito ay lalabas po siya yung link niya doon. Then pwede pong i-share ng user. Then ito po yung vlogs let's go back po. Nalimutan kong explain yung edit function. So sa page po ng vlogs, sa view page, visible na rin po yung edit and delete. Try po natin select yung edit. So lalabas po yung vlog title and vlog content ng vlog na yan. So pwede pong edit ng user dito, then click update, then delete. Same lang po siya nung delete function sa forum, na pag na-click lang yung button po ay madi-delete na yung isang So lahat po ng update at edit ay visible lang po siya sa admin tsaka sa user na nag-create ng specific content na yon. Bali sa admins po, lahat po ng content, blogs, posts, events, forums ay pwede nilang i-edit o pwede po nilang i-delete. Sila lang po yung may privilege sa script. Nilagay ko po kasi na nasa if statement po siya pala. Para mag-display po yung mga buttons, ang delete button and update button. Sa lahat po ng page yan. Then, for the ng polls po. Ayan. Dito po, pwede pong bumoto yung user sa specific option. It's like, what's your favorite programming language? I like PHP. So, wala po. PHP. That. Nag-register na po ang ano. Then, may sa lower part po ng page ay lalabas na po yung result ng polls. I-analyze na po niya kung ilang percent siya dun sa lahat ng bumoto po sa polls. Then sa events, po natin events. Para lang din po siyang vlog pero may kaiba lang po yung may event countdown. Tsaka, ayan po, event countdown. Picture po, then title, headline, countdown, tsaka description po nung event. Then, same lang din po. May delete button and update button. Na visible lang po sa admins and sa user na nag-create nun. Yan, lalabas po yung event title, event headline, event description. Then, yun po yung pinaka-content ng website natin. And for the search page, ito po yung search function ng buong content. Bale, isa-search lang po niya ang gustong word. Parang ilagay lang po ng user yung gusto niyang word na i-search sa buong content from forum, blogs, polls, and events. Like code. Dapat po ay pipili lang siya ng isa dito sa radio buttons. Gusto nyo pong hanapin ng code na word sa forums. Then, submit. Then, lalabas na po yung results ng forum. Kung gusto ko po ay hanapin ay what is the best of code editing. Click lang po yung link na yun. Lalabas na po yung page na yun. And pwede po nilang basahin yung corresponding replies po doon. Then, pwede po, ang nga po pala, may submit reply pa po siya dito. Pwede po mag-reply ang user sa bawat forum sa loob. Then, next po ay di ba po kanina nag-create po kayo, kung nag-sign up po kayo, nag-create po kayong user profile. Sa bawat page po, lalabas po yung profile card natin na pwede po nating pinutin, may edit button. Na yun. Pwede po nating click yan or lalabas na po yung, pwede po natin edit yung profile natin dyan. Or, pwede naman po din dito sa may profile na to. Sa may profile po sa ating button, click lang po yung may profile. Lalabas na po lahat yung na-create na content ng isang user. Kung naman po edit profile, yung edit page po natin sa profile, find people, lalabas po lahat ng user ng system. Bale, parang gusto ko din pong lagyan siya ng search function. after development, after ng DocuPop, pwede ko po siyang lagyan. Pati po sa, ito po yung home button. Ito lang po siyang home. Tignan po natin to. Messaging. So po ito sa key function ng website. Pwede po nilang i-message ang isang user sa website. Click lang po nila isang user, then lalabas na po yung mga messages po ng isang conversation. Naka-store po sa database. Kunyari po, gusto ko pong emoji. Click ko lang po yung send button. Hindi po siya natanggap ng emoji. Ayan. Hindi lang po siya natanggap ng emoji pa yata. Nag-error po siya pag emoji. Yan. Then sa dashboard din po, meron po siyang OnAid Forum and OnAid Hub. Sa OnAid Forum po, lalabas po yung lahat po ng forum natin. Or, ano lang pala po, top forums. Parang same lang din po siya nung SQL command ko po dun sa dashboard. 6 latest or the highest forum na may pinakamataas po na vote muna. Ang lalabas po dito. Ito pong categories ito. Ang bawat isang forums po, papasok po siya sa category. Bali, kung pipinit po ako ng isang category, lalabas po lahat ng forum na nasa loob nun. Lalabas isang category, lalabas po lahat ng forum. Then, pwede po siya dito, ang user pwede po mag-create ng category at i-view po lahat ng categories. Lahat po ito ng categories. Sala po. Then, ito din po, pwede ito mag-create ng forum at i-view po ang lahat ng forums. Pwede po nilang i-view din yung forum na yan. Then sa OnAid Hub po, same logic lang po siya. Sa blogs po may like button din po siya doon. Pwede pong i-like ng users ang ano niya, ang isang blog. At pinakamataas po ang lalabas dito. Mga 5 lang po ang nasa SQL query po niya. Then sa upcoming events, yung pinakamalapit po na date ang lalabas. Then latest polls, date po ng created yung poll ang nakabase yung query niya. So lalabas po siya dito. Same principle din po, may create a blog and all blogs. To view all blogs, create an event, or to view all events, create a poll, or to view all polls. So that's all po for the functions. May mga additional lang po ako. Yep. Sa footer po. Yun na lang po. Home, the team. Ito po yung developers. So, Yan. Hindi pa lang po siya tapos ngayon. Okay. Pero okay na po yung mga portfolio namin. Yan, lalabas na po yung portfolio namin dyan. Okay, ko lang po yung picture namin dito. And okay na po ang developers. Then, contact us. May contact page nga rin po pala. Na pwede po siyang gamitin ng user para kontakin kami on this email. If they want to subscribe for updates, pwede po din. Para may mga, pag po may announcement po kami, ay sa email po namin nila i-send. Then write their message if they have question or queries or anything po na pwede. So, sa 00 web host po, parang hindi po siya nagana pa. Dahil hindi po siya support. Pag free po, hindi po supported yung SMTP mail server. Yung mailing server po na STP. Pag po yata premium, gagana po siya. Ang inisip ko po, lalagyan ko po siya ng may plugin po kasi akong nakita din na messaging para po smartsapp.com. Pwede ko po siya lagyan pag nagkaano po ako. Para for the meantime, yun po muna yung messaging, yung option para po ma-message ng user ang kami po, developers. And that's all po for the functions of the website and how to use it. 26 minutes. Yun lang po muna. Thank you po. Thank you for listening po sa presentation po ng website po namin.